outside of it an hour's. Sorry. Um, I was actually thinking of making a pentagram here too. I used to have one on that side and one on this side, and I could make a little one here. It's nice. I've seen some nice rooms, Laguz and Solilo, my favorite rooms. Nature's kind of smiling at me. It's good and good work. And I don't fight the demonic in people. I simply learn from it. And I think using the word demonic on my videos is helpful because people come along and it's like, and they'll just walk away. They'll think, oh, this guy's crazy. He's talking about demons. But they don't even know where the word demon comes from. Daemon, which is another word for the soul. So it is very much about the financial interests in the psychotic leaning compulsions of human beings. The demonic is of the most lunatic and the most parasitical nature of the human mind, and multiplied in that human beings combine their labors or to try to multiply their safety and survival from everything but what happens to them when they multiply their survival or think they are in such and such a manner, because of the very reason that they're ultimately moved to want to do this, dislocation in their primal continuum as children. And supplied by teachers and schools and lots of different orders of human beings just doing it. And so the whole thing about violence is that you're going to be talking about things, and the human voice of every child is up against all of the stupid beliefs of all the teachers of the world. And everything that you think in human terms that can't consider what I'm saying, in deference to the adequate provision we would all presume to want to make, and to the voice of our own safety and that of our children in continuing and in perpetuity, is testifying to the very demonic nature of your labors. You see? It's all there in the language. I've wrapped you up nice and tight and put a bow on it. Now, what kind of person do you want to be? If you don't want to listen to it, fine. It's totally healthy, no worries. But don't tell me that I'm doing something wrong. When the most inhuman people are trying to get you to think you need to be more human by becoming more inhuman. Because that's how they see you from beginning to end, is fundamentally inhuman creatures onto whom they can project all the inhuman things that they do in terms of their sacred calling to wield various economic magic over you by birth until death, and every death and every birth, because you're not born dead and you don't die from birth. And no one should, and no one ever really has, except you become sublimated to the various characters that you learn to play in the world, and the characters that appear in the theatrical world. And in every sense, humans are bred to live in a theatrical existence, because the theater is where people lose their inhibitions and can convince the audience that the most human things are going on when the most inhuman things are going on. So theater is for the human, by the inhuman. It is the demons entertaining the demons, right? Right? Democracy is a theater. It's a pandemonium. It's the demons leading the demons. Right? Demons leading the demons. Remember that. Okay. Not a pleasant day in terms of there being very much sun, but the temperature has been okay. I've only seen one group of people and I didn't really want to see them, but they knew me. So I hate it when people know me. I hate getting to know people. We just run into them and they're friendly or they seem friendly. Because white people are never really friendly. They're not healthy enough to be friendly. I've met one older man in the area and he's so pleasant, you know. He deserves a fucking medal. And that's a nice person, but a lot of white people aren't. Because they're demonic. They have so many parasites in their blood. If I can help work out parasites out of my blood and someone can benefit from that, it's like you think you're completely immune to this world. Like you think your children have ever been safe with teachers, Laura Ingalls, all these beautiful teachers, these Laura Ingalls wannabes, who are police officers for children. in prisons for children. Don't you think it's interesting that police visit schools, but they never teach law? That a police officer's never asked to teach at a law school? Isn't that funny? And yet we call them law enforcement. They're enforcing something they don't understand because they're not supposed to. They're enforcing economics. They're agents of the taxation wielded upon the poor by the number one religion in the world. Police are all working for a religion, the economic religion of the world. No, they're not good people. They can't be good people. They're not able to be good people. At the same time, they think they're some of the most righteous people. They think they know more about life than the people they're molesting. Because certainly they've figured out how to be powerful. There's nothing more terrifying to me than a police officer in every sense, because if you study what these people do, right? You study what they learn in criminology, just like psychology, you should be fucking terrified. They're learning to objectify the human race. They're learning to be inhuman. It's all doublespeak, right? It's Christian doublespeak. Okay, let's go. Very scary stuff. They're very scary people. Police officers, very scary. That's why I like to watch YouTube videos of people courageous enough to stand up to them. Terrifying. I saw a guy pulled over on YouTube and he's with his son. Police officer comes up and he's like, I'm terrified of you. Why? Because I watch YouTube videos about the police. We don't do it, but man. Scary motherfuckers. And they're typical. They have typical emotional parasites. Let's go. They're robots, right? They're emotional robots. Right? That's the police. They're emotional robots. They're numb inside. I can't think of a more useless, awful way to spend your life than being an RCMP officer. My God, this is not how, theater portrays police and stuff in a way that allows us to lower our inhibitions and raise our suspension of disbelief and magical thinking. Because if you really take a close look at police and what they do, right, it's not normal. It's not human. No normal human walks around like they do, talks like they do, behaves like they do, enjoys what they enjoy, or has a revulsion for the people they have a revulsion for, because they have a revulsion for you. They have a revulsion for the public, right? They all do. They hate the public. Part of them, which is demonic, hates people, really hates people, right? I'm going to make a little pentagram of some kind here. I don't know if I will make it, but let's see. See if there's enough sticks in here. Pentagrams can be, this one came together in the most interesting way, so I'm finding that's how long it took me. And it's like, you'll see, it's just like a very eccentric sort of shape. Because essentially, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've skipped over that log in a way, in a strange sort of way. I'm kind of anyway, so just gonna do that. It's kind of cool. That's neat. Okay. I'm not gonna do much more. I want to get going. Okay, got my camera, got my stuff. Let's go. Let's get home. Where is river's at down here? Yeah, I just thought I just did it. Just like, oh, this, get this. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be sound. It's like, if it's not, I'm gonna walk away from that. That's fine. So it is. And I'm nervous as I'm making it. It's like it's drawing fears out of me. It's like, huh. It's like, I've made one on that side of the river, and this side has been over 2 years since. So, and it may not last, but I don't think as many people come here anymore. You know, it's been safer in many respects than it has been for a long time. That particular part where I started coming, nobody would come there, and all of a sudden people started showing up here. And it's there we go. Someone observed me making a pentagram one day. There's a third one in the area that I did make. I'm not sure if it's there anymore. And they took pictures of it. I watched them. They're pretty respectful. I'd rather not be watched, but it was an interesting day. Much more risky than today. But it's always risky to go out. I talked to my mom today, and I was like, there are things that she needs to give her, and that she can only sort of do for herself. And it's scary because I have to admit that I don't know what my mom's going to do if she starts taking care of herself a little bit. You know, what that means to her. It's like, I think in some sense she prefers people who just let her stay she is. So she doesn't really have a lot of real friends. And the people that she lets in close, like my sister, you know, commiserates with her and turns my sister on as a sociopath. Is the only way they really have any relationship at all. And it's just a really unhealthy situation. My mom does this at a kind of pathogenic level. So talking about it and talking to her, it's liable to make her violent. You know, it's like, you know, this is the real schizophrenia of my family because it's related to being sexually abused. It's a sort of twisted way to live your life. You know, my mom makes bad decisions over and over again. And I'm like, if you just talk to me firstly, I'm sure we could see your way through this. You know? She doesn't make steady, determined things that way. And she's got enough money that that's something she needs to be able to do. And so she's just, I don't know. But today I hope that whatever I've done will be helpful to her. Because it's not like my mom really likes to talk. Okay, so I'll be home. Really kept most evil people out of my path today. I wanted to set off that one branch. I didn't want to make it then because it just didn't naturally happen that way. And it kind of sets it off. You know, I pull it out of the brush. You know, running over plants and things like that. Let's set this off. It's a beautiful branch, probably from the tree standing out there, the maple trees. And I walk down these places and I'll tell people stories for years. I was walking down here once and there was a crazy looking woman coming. And I'm a 50-year-old man, so I just put my head down, coming home at the end of a long day, get my aura close to my body. It might as well have just attracted her like a honey to a flower. And she stopped me and sexually harassed me for 10 minutes. You know, I came up here the other way. I passed a woman, older white woman. Same thing, starts to harass me. The moment she opened her mouth, tried to offer me unsolicited advice. That's passive aggression. If I want unsolicited advice, I consider that violent. So she just got her dog and went away. Why are you telling me what to do? Who are you? What are you telling me about what I should wear or not? Huh? Well, women have a prerogative to be complete assholes in public. And basically no one's going to do anything, just like men. I know she was just mentally ill. Just a mentally ill white woman who's probably had too many cups of coffee. Just took my time and then walked away, not thanking me for it. If anything, she's getting more and more nervous as she's talking to me. And she hasn't come at me with the right attitude. Okay? They're quite low lives around here. And you notice that they don't think. They do. And religious super generalizations. Slogan number one, slogan number. They don't like arguments. They're the kind of people who think the phrase "that's offensive" is an argument. And fair enough. These people don't think right. They have parasites in their brains. They have lesions. They live with them, and we live with them. And the economic system breeds them. Okay? Put them in those chairs. The first thing my sister did by the time she was 9 and 10 years old is stick her fork in front of the chalkboard that my grandfather had erected in the basement and forced him to sit there while she and held him captive, right? That's what she thought being a teacher was. She's still like that. Right? Mom captive on the phone. She keeps pummeling her. Boom, boom, boom. And then to have anything, any say in my life or her life as someone who's actually affected by all these things. She has no attention span left. She isolates her from me. She pulls her away from me, right? Because I don't listen to her. I don't let her control me. And so she tries to control any home that I'm in as much as she can. All she needs is an in. Whether I'm living with a brother, my mother. Anytime I've been around my sister, she speaks in only the most derogatory tones about me, even around me, in my home, right? That's all she's got as a person. She's empty. She's got nothing. I don't realize how empty she is. One day she's just going to feel how empty she is, and her skin will crumple like paper, and she'll blow away. And I think Native people have been wondering this about white people, why their paper tigers don't just blow away. What is filling their blood with substance? Well, it's by taking things from innocent people, feeding off of human beings. The demonic side of humans is cannibalistic. It's all biblical black magic. The economic system says, you have a debt to society. You've got to pay your way. Let me take some of your flesh right now to show how important it is you let me do that. So just because a Christian will try to tell you that they've lifted the curse because of the power of their black magic, while behaving like a totally perverted human being with no sense of credible human boundaries. That's how perverts work. That's why Christians are perverts. Right? Evangelical and Christians are perverts. They're all perverts. It's all black magic, right? The churches are black churches. They're all owned by royalty and warlocks. Right? It would be nice if a church really was a church. I come out here to go to church, and I'm always by myself. And I want my mom to be well, my home to be sound, my flesh and blood to be cured of all parasites and all the persuasive lingering shocks thereof. And I make pentagrams and I make curses and walk around. And I share my knowledge such as I may find it, under all the exertions that I undertake, under the considerable impact that I've been forced to feel and endure throughout my life, changing my habit patterns, changing my life. Right? The only reason I walk this way, part of the reason is Jay and his girlfriend and his stupid dogs. So today, there they were. Why? I've never seen them here before. What drew them here? Right? It's the idea is to just kind of get them out of your system. So you never see them again. And there are people I just like. And when demonic type people are friendly, it forces an acquaintance that you don't want. I'd rather just walk by them. Right? There's very few people I want to be around because people are sick. As I walk home, my goal is to avoid all people. Now, counselors and stuff will say, oh, you shouldn't avoid people. But it's like, there's lots of reasons to avoid if you can. Avoid them where you can. Avoid counselors, avoid psychologists. On the road, you find when you're avoiding therapy. Now, if you're ready to commit suicide, yeah, go talk to even a low-life therapist. But generally, you find your own way. I've never met a psychologist who ever talked about shock. Isn't that amazing? In billions of hours of therapy all over the world, no therapist ever seems to talk about shock. And if they do, have any real knowledge about the very unpredictable animal of shock, which has a mind of its own. And it's used by the demonic world. It is the very power and nature of the very deceptive compulsions suffered by people in their demonic incarnations of their industrial personality. Cult psychology. I haven't seen any slugs around for a while. Where are all the slugs? They always tell me to slow down. I'll probably do that too when I get home. There's a person. Let's go to the bathroom. These lovely forests, which should be lovely still. But that I should feel safe in my person and in my point of view. Are you just always saying just talk about yourself everything? It's fun, but I would not do that. Because you are just taking more time. Okay? Yeah, I don't even know my life skills. Okay, think the birds and food to be extremely picky. Okay, I've heard you were reading books about how all vegetables are bad for you. It's like, they don't need to be as good as you think they are, but it's like, it's clearly a hyperbolic statement. There was a weird woman who was waiting for me in her car frantically without rolling down the window. So I had no idea who she was. I could guess, but you couldn't really see. It's like she's thinking, I'm just going to mimic her behavior and mirror it because that's what she wants to do. And this is, female victims of all kinds of things. They tend to want to control every interaction. They're always initiating, always controlling. When they don't want to talk to you, they ignore you. When they do, they demand your attention. Right? They pick people up and use them like tools, like sociopaths. Sociopathy is part of the coping system of men and women who have been sexually oppressed or sexually abused. And it's produced in schools. So you notice if people become sociopaths, because school is sexually abusive. You can start to draw all these things together, right? By definition. Right? Every child in public school in North America is being sexually abused every day. It's being done in an economically feasible, socially condoned manner. Right? The children should be paid for what's the training that they're enduring. It is training through deprivation, negative reinforcement, right? Right? You have to make a provision for their voice and their own safety. None was made in mine. None is made in millions and millions of instructional hours for any child.